CA UIM, formerly known as NMS, configuring your NAS. The Nimsoft Alarm Server, or NAS, is a fundamental component of Nimsoft. It's important to ensure that the underlying behavior is configured correctly. Let's take a look at the Setup tab within the NAS Probe GUI. The first sub-tab under Setup is the General tab. This may not be the default view when you first select the Setup tab. Starting from the top, let's skip log file and log level as these are not probe specific. Publish alarm updates every refers to how often the consoles are updated with duplicate alarms. Activate support for internalization allows NAS to handle internal probe alerts. Storm protection dictates how the NAS handles floods of alerts. When enabled, this is predominantly based on probe type or individual robot, with thresholds comparing alarm quantity over time. Messages which are quarantined are sent to the message bus with the subject specified. Storm capacity is the maximum quarantined alarms that are stored. The second tab is a transaction log tab. Again, starting from the top, you'll need to ensure that activate transaction logging is checked. This should be default. Administration interval determines how often the actions on the right are performed. Compressed transactions after refers to removing the duplicate instances of the same alarm from the transaction log. Keep transaction history refers to how long to keep an alarm timeline, i.e. when the alarm changes severity or when any actions are registered against the alarm. Keep transaction summary is how long to retain visibility of the initial alarm and the final clear alarm or user acknowledgement. Log alarm updates every will dictate how often suppressed alarms are written to the log. Activate network transaction logging enables you to republish the transaction logs to a commercial database. The third tab is the Message Suppression tab, arguably the most important tab we're going to discuss. Starting from the top, activate message suppression should always be checked. Accept suppression ID in message, again this should always be checked to allow Nimsoft to correlate alarms based on the suppression key. Accept automatic acknowledgement alarms is a decision which requires some thought and differs depending on your circumstance. When checked, alarms which are cleared at a probe level will be removed from the console, else they'll turn green to indicate a cleared state. Enable suppression based on core message content. When this is selected, alarms where the specified number of characters, i.e. 50, in the message are identical to an existing alarm message and have the same source will be suppressed. Note that in this case, the numerics in the alarm message are not counted, only alpha characters are compared. This value should be increased to 100 or more. This feature is for probes that does not send a suppression ID in the alarm message, for example the NTVL probe. Reset suppression counter upon change of severity resets the suppression counter when the severity of an alarm is changed. This can be useful when used in conjunction with auto operators or scripts. The Subsystems tab gives you the additional functionality to identify alarms based on manufacturer or technology. As you can see, there are many of these built in out of the box. You also have the ability to add your own custom subsystems. Forward and replication. This tab allows you to synchronize with other NASes within your HA configuration, or to forward alarms to NASes higher up within the Nimsoft hierarchy. The NIS Bridge tab. You'll notice that this tab looks very similar to the Transaction Log tab. It's important to ensure the Activate NIS Bridge is enabled, otherwise none of the alarms will be inserted to the Nimsoft data store and therefore not displayed in UMP. CSSdelivers.com. We'll prove it.